Welcome to the ExecMBA podcast. I'm Brett Twitty, Director of Admissions for the Executive Formats of the Darden MBA. And today, I'd like to continue our look at career resources for Executive Format students with a conversation with Sarita Soldz. Sarita, we've already featured her once on the podcast, and she's back again. Her previous appearance, she talked about career resources for career switchers, those students seeking to make a job transition through their MBA. Today, we're going to explore entrepreneurial resources, resources for those students who are seeking to leverage their MBA and launch their own business. This is the third career conversation here on the podcast. As I mentioned, we had one previous conversation with Sarita Soldz and another with Erica Booker, an MBA format student in our class of 2018. We talked with Erica about her recent career transition. So be sure to check that out if you're interested in learning more about how we support students and their career goals in Darden's Executive MBA program. As also previously mentioned in my earlier conversation with Sarita, Sarita is one of two career advisors who work exclusively with our Executive Format students. The other career advisor is Jim Collins. We'll be featuring Jim on the ExecMBA podcast in the coming weeks as we continue this look at career support in the Executive MBA program at Darden. Sarita, welcome back to the podcast.
Great, thanks, Brett.
All right, so one of the stories that we've really been working to tell over the past few weeks on the podcast, but also on the Discover Darden blog, is about entrepreneurship in the executive formats. We have some students who are real champions for their classmates and want students to think more about launching their own businesses. And there are a lot of resources both at the University of Virginia and Darden specifically for entrepreneurs, and would love to give students who are listening a sense of how you and Jim support budding entrepreneurs or people who think they may want to launch their own business.
Sure, yeah. So one of the first things that we do is we do have career kickoff meetings with everyone before they actually start in the program. And during those career kickoff meetings, we do discuss with the students what are their career objectives. And their career objectives can be they want to climb within their current organization, they want to switch to a new role, they really don't know, so they're being an explorer, or also they want to become an entrepreneur. There might even be a combination of all of those all at once. So when someone says to us, you know what, I'm raising my hand, I'm really interested in this entrepreneurship, then we have conversations around where is it that you're in the process of being an entrepreneur? Because we'll have folks who come in, they've already started a business. One of them who is just matriculated has said he's got an app that he's working on. He's got a full-time job working for the U.S. government too. So it's just, they can be in really different phases. They can already have an idea. Maybe they haven't done anything with the idea yet. They can have an idea, they've already started and launched the business. They could know that they just want to be in the entrepreneurial space, but they don't have the idea, but they want to support someone else who's doing it. And then they could really be even in this whole phase of, I like the idea because, look, my parents were entrepreneurs, or I have friends who are entrepreneurs, and I want to explore it, but I'm not really sure I really want to do it yet. So what we say is maybe they're window shopping at this point, and they may decide to do it. So we'll have those discussions. We can help them brainstorm about the ideas, but generally speaking, what we do then is we will refer them to the expert at Darden. There is a person named MJ Toms. She's at the Batten Institute, which basically is the central hub for all things entrepreneurship at Darden. And then she can coordinate, answer questions, put you in touch with experts who can advise you, let you know about competitions, about events, networking events, all sorts of different things depending on what you want to do and how you want to move forward with it.
One of the exciting things to me, just talking with some of our 2018s, has been some of the or just organic things that have happened in the classes, whether it's Charlottesville section, Roslyn section, around entrepreneurship. Some of the students in Charlottesville started this thing called the Sounding Board, where they just get together informally and pitch ideas. And unbeknownst to me, the same thing's happening in Roslyn with the 2018s. Our 2019s are just starting, so we'll give them a little bit of a break to get this sort of thing rolling. But that's an awesome example of the fact that not only do you have you and Jim available, but you have 130 classmates who are also resources and, again, some real champions for entrepreneurship.
Yeah, and you bring up a really good point. So sometimes folks don't know exactly what role they want to play, and what we encourage them to do is go talk to other students. And if they're interested in something entrepreneurial, maybe even we know of a student that has an entrepreneurial idea, but they have the idea but not the engineering expertise, for example. And we might also help connect those students. But what we really tell the students to do is connect themselves, which is to go out, talk to all the other students, get to know each other, and then they can start to see how those kind of ideas can kind of come together and they can help each other out. So yeah, it's great.
Yeah, we think that there's such a natural mesh between what students do at Darden, case method, sort of C-suite perspective, enterprise perspective, and launching your own business, right? Because if you're launching your own business, you CEO, CFO, COO, you constantly have to have that perspective of thinking in that senior leadership way. And students are trained to think that way at Darden. Academically, it's a good fit, and not only you have this really supportive, collaborative, environment where you have folks who are actively interested. If you're thinking about an entrepreneur who's come to you and wants to talk to MJ, what are other steps that they might be able to take? I know we've had some students, for example, participate in the iLab and also participate in pitch nights.
Yeah, so UVA has something called the Entrepreneurship Cup, and it's like a competition. You can participate, and the real benefit of it is that it really helps you go through the full process of developing the business plan from concept all the way through to launch. And there's 3 different phases that you can participate in. So you might win the competition, but the real benefit is there is this whole process that kind of gets you going and doing the business plan if you've got the idea and it's just been percolating in your head for a while. Then, for those of you who have kind of already figured out the idea in a lot more detail, we have something called the iLab, which is an incubator program. I believe it's about 10 weeks, 12 weeks, it's something like that. It starts usually every year. It's an annual process along with the Entrepreneurship Cup. And the week after Memorial Day through August, and people participate in that. We did have one executive MBA from the class of 2018 participate this year. He actually quit his job to participate because he was so passionate about his idea and what he wanted to do. He also knew that he didn't want to continue in his current job. So he went through that incubator program this summer and had an amazing experience because he basically was in basically an accelerator where you've got all these other people, like 20 plus teams working there, and you've got experts who are going to help you figure out if your idea has merit or not.
Well, one of the things I think that's true to the experience, just talking with students who are about halfway through the program, right? There's this confidence that they have that you've gone through a good chunk of the core, not all of the core curriculum, but you just kind of feel like you could run a business at that point. Some people have mentioned that to me, and that's fascinating. I mean, because you think where people come from, right? All of our students have so different backgrounds. Many of them have never run a business at sort of that level, started their own business, certainly. Some of them have. But within a year, they go from sort of brand new student to like, I can do this.
Yeah, you know what? It's funny because we had this, so during your leadership residency, when you first start, it's a week-long program where you come down to Charlottesville. Everybody does, even if you're in the Roslyn cohort. And one of the things that we did this year that I thought went over really well is we had an alumni panel, and alumni plus students kind of talk about their careers, how they leverage career resources, et cetera. And one of the things that one of the alums mentioned was, to your point, is one of the things that Darden really provided me with is that X-ray vision to really understanding the business from the full, from every single angle. So to your point of being a C-level executive, to really being able to run your business, to maybe I really want to stay in the area that I'm in, or I want to go into a different area. I mean, what Darden really is all about is developing leaders, and leaders are needed to run companies, and those companies can be entrepreneurial companies too.
Well, Sarita, thank you so much for taking time today. We're very excited about all the things that are happening in our program around entrepreneurship. Got some blog posts running about the Sounding Board, which is the group in Charlottesville, and obviously some of the entrepreneurial things that are happening up here in Roslyn. And as we tell people all the time, all it takes really is about 3 or 4 people in a class with the right kind of personality and who are willing to drive those conversations and to be the change, so to speak. And next thing you know, you've got a lot of people who want to start their own business. A quick anecdote before we sign off here. So the 2018s, so they have a classmate that's up here in the Roslyn section in particular, is a real entrepreneurship champion. He's actually he's on his third business now. And he's been working on his classmates, and I think there's been this sort of progressive, sort of steady growing interest simply because of the fact he has been such a champion and constantly talks to his classmates about doing this. So if for those of you listening, if that sounds like you, or you want to be in a place where you can actually affect change amongst your classmates and get them thinking sort of boldly about launching their own businesses, Darden has the kind of scale for that. It's very, very personal. It has a very human scale to it. So, Sarita, thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, my pleasure, Brett. Thank you.
And that was my conversation with Sarita Soldz as we took a look at the resources available for those students in our Executive MBA program who are seeking to start their own business. Of course, as always, if you have any comments, suggestions, requests, anything you'd like for us to cover here on the ExecMBA podcast, let us know. We welcome your ideas. We can be reached at exec, that's EXEC, MBA at darden.virginia.edu. Until next time, thanks for listening.